Hello and welcome to Should You Buy, a show where we give you all the information you need to decide whether to buy a game or not. And today we're asking the question, should you buy This War of Mine? What is This War of Mine? This War of Mine is a game set in a totally new perspective of war, having you control a group of citizens trapped in the middle of a civil war conflict. This game is developed by 11-bit Studios, the people who created the Anomaly games, and is out on Windows, Mac and Linux. The gameplay takes an almost point-and-click style, with your mouse being the main way you control the game. That said, I really struggle to actually call this a point-and-click, as it feels very different from the other games in the point-and-click genre. From the get-go, you are thrust into this world of disarray, salvaging what you can from the tattered remains of an abandoned apartment building. You control 3 randomly picked civilians with no combat experience. There is no tutorial, there is no epic monologue from the protagonist, just one quote. In modern war, you will die like a dog for no good reason. Once you're in this world, you get told absolutely nothing. I mean, this game isn't conventional. I shouldn't have to be treated like this from a game. A game is supposed to be fun and help me along as the player, right? This game doesn't. Instead, you're forced to experiment, click around until things happen. In real war, you don't have a tour guide who shows you the way around the new world. This game attempts to mirror this sense of helplessness by having you figure out and learn how to survive. And you must do this quick, as you'll soon be fighting not just the enemy people, but time, hunger, depression, wounds, raiders, resources, and the economy. Yes, that's right, economy. The enemy isn't necessarily the people fighting the civil war broken out in your country, but the world and economy it has created. And in this case, the economy comes in the form of trading items and resources effectively as to get the most out of what you've got. The choices you face aren't a simple yes or no, black and white style choice. They're blurred in greyish ambiguity, and some choices never feeling like you're doing the right thing. If you're starving, do you steal food from a defenseless family? A family just stuck in this war as you are? How far will you go to survive, or rather, how much of what you do can you live with? The game mechanics of the game is split between 2 stages of the game, day and night. During the day, the war rages on and your characters are forced to stay in refuge in an abandoned apartment, your home. This is where the game turns into a bit of a sim style, look after the character's needs gameplay. Crafting becomes vital in your survival, as you soon find you'll need as many items as you can to help your character's needs of food, warmth and simple commodities. The things you create are separated into different categories: household items, your beds, chairs, radios, etc. Workshops, allowing you to create further tools, medicines, food and more. Consumables and other. The workshops in this game can be further upgraded, as well as your main workshop, to further create more advanced items. With crafting requiring certain amounts of resources, and your characters only able to bring a certain amount back, you have to choose what to build carefully. Do you build a bed and hold out on a cooker until the next day? Do you upgrade your workshop but hold off eating for another day? This leads me to the other phase of gameplay, the night. Here, you can either stay at home for the night, or choose someone to scavenge in a number of locations around the city. You can also set someone to guard your house from any incoming raiders who may attack your home at night. Once you nominate someone to scavenge, you can equip them with all necessary tools or items before being put in control in the selected location. Here, you will scour the area, looking for useful resources to bring back with you. If you have brought any items for trading and the people in the area are friendly, you can also barter and trade items with them. This is especially useful as they are, more often than not, after something in particular, either desperate for food, medical supplies or something along those lines. And they often hold very useful items that otherwise would be very rare to find without putting yourself in danger. You only have limited slots in your backpack, meaning you really have to think what to bring back with you. Do you bring back coffee beans at the expense of wood to help increase your character's mood? Do you bring back a load of medical supplies and wait another day until you have enough materials to make a water purifier? This isn't even the start of it, as when you get back, the person scavenging will be tired, requiring him to go to bed, and more likely than not, you won't have enough supplies to feed everyone. You must choose who eats. Do you feed your main scavenger, or do you make them take it in turns fairly? If someone's sick and not contributing, do you prioritize feeding them, or use it to fuel your stronger candidates? If a character becomes so depressed they become broken, not sleeping or eating or doing anything from sheer sadness, do you feed them? Or what's that? 2 people are wounded and you only have 1 bandage? Someone's got to get patched up. Who's it gonna be? And don't even get me started on sick people. If you're looking for a fun and exciting war game with shooting, controlling a character that apparently never eats, sleeps or feels pain, just kills, this isn't the game for you. This game is compelling and thought-provoking. It's interesting as it shares the same medium that glorifies killing. This war of mine is very slow-paced and has you praying you don't see combat, as, yes, you've guessed it, it can be hard to kill other people. If it's not the actual act of killing someone, then it's living with it and what you've done. And this is made even harder hitting by the game and how it reacts to what you've done. Although the pacing is slow, it helps emphasize the possible good moments found in the game, or makes the sad moments truly depressing. Nothing feels good. Nothing feels right. Aside from 1 or 2 things that you can do in the game, you're stuck choosing the least of the worst options to survive, and then watching helplessly at your people as they start to decay mentally, physically, or both. Saying all this, there are negatives to the game. The helpless feeling you have when you first boot up the game, the whole, it creates the lost feeling of not knowing what to do, only happens once. Once you start over, you are imbued with a set of knowledge which is almost game-breaking, giving you a super sense of what to do in a game which is best experienced when knowledge is lacking. For me, anyway, this game comes as a one-hit wonder, making it so replaying the game is simply to challenge yourself to get further, rather than the helpless survivability you feel in the first playthrough. This is a strange complaint, but it basically makes the game, the second time round, a game. It's then no longer the thought-provoking message it's been praised to be, but simply a survival-based game. Overall, this is a very narrative-heavy game. There is barely anything given to you as a player in terms of the characters' backgrounds or the land you're stuck in. Only a few lines summing up their past and the state of war in which you're stuck in. The rest of the narrative is created by you, through the choices you make. The game feels organic with no real set routes or set pieces. The emotional ups and downs aren't created by the game, it's created by the choices you make. This game is an inside look into choice, delivering it with the overarching question, what do you do to survive? Throughout this review, I've outlined only a fraction of the choices you make, with some being quick-fire decisions, and some being large decisions that'll affect the rest of your playthrough. Replayability takes a hit in my perspective, as I found it hard to get attached to my second set of characters, and found the game almost easy when knowing what to do. I've unpurposely left specific details out about how to play this game out of this review, as I hope you can share the same experience of not knowing much about it before playing it as I did, as there are many more choices and random events that you can experience. Do I think this is a perfect game? No. Comparing this to other narrative-driven games like Papers, Please and the Walking Dead game series, this War of Mine does bring more gameplay elements to the genre, which is an amazing feat as it's very often seen that narrative-heavy games almost hold out on gameplay aspects of the games. I don't see this game as perfect, however, I do see it as a huge leap in conveying narrative through player actions and gameplay. It does not use scripted events written specifically to cause an unnatural emotional response, and if AAA games can have half the amount of choice in gameplay as this game does, then I think the games industry would be heading in a good direction. If narrative games are something that you like, then this one really hits the nail on the head. This game not only incorporates hard-hitting emotional scenes, but it makes you, as the player, do it. None of this press E to feel, press space to cry nonsense. It also incorporates a nice amount of gameplay alongside the heavy narrative involved, so if this sounds like something you'll like, I'd strongly recommend getting the game. However, replayability can be difficult to want to pick up, but if you think you can give this game a few tries, then I'd say buy it on sale. But if you're like me and had a pretty good first run and can't see yourself restarting, then I'd have to recommend buying it in a bundle. And to round things off, if you're after a mindless, casual game which doesn't require much attention, I'd say don't bother with this game. It's hard to play relaxed as you're always on point due to the permanent deaths of characters and pressure of survival. Anyway, I hope you found this video useful, and if you want to see another review, check out the one we did about Gunpoint. It's an interesting, casual 2D puzzle game. And if you want to learn more about games, click here for the latest Press A to learn. It's informational. Anyway, thanks for watching and goodbye.